There is a common belief that kindness should be given without limits, that it should be extended to everyone regardless of how they treat you. While this idea sounds noble, it is not practical, nor is it healthy. Kindness is valuable, and anything valuable should be protected. It should not be handed out carelessly, especially to those who do not respect or appreciate it. If you continue to give kindness without any boundaries, you will find yourself exhausted, emotionally drained, and constantly questioning why people do not treat you with the same level of care that you offer them. Not everyone deserves your kindness, and that is a truth you must accept. There are people who will take advantage of you, who will see your generosity as a weakness rather than a strength. They will take from you, demand more, and never stop to consider what you need in return. These people do not value kindness because they have never had to earn it. They expect it, they feel entitled to it, and they use it as a way to manipulate others into doing what they want. If you continue to offer kindness without discerning who is worthy of it, you will become an easy target for those who thrive on taking advantage of others. Many people struggle with this idea because they feel that withholding kindness is cruel. But being kind does not mean allowing yourself to be used. Being kind does not mean tolerating disrespect. Being kind does not mean continuously forgiving people who do not deserve it. If someone repeatedly mistreats you, takes advantage of your good nature, or disregards your feelings, they are showing you that they do not deserve your kindness. It is not cruel to recognize this truth. It is wise. It is a necessary act of self-respect. You have to understand that your kindness is not an unlimited resource. Every time you extend kindness to someone who does not appreciate it, you take away from those who do. Every time you forgive someone who does not deserve it, you make it harder for yourself to recognize when someone truly values you. Every time you continue to give to those who only take, you drain yourself of the energy that could have been used to build meaningful and fulfilling relationships with people who genuinely care. This is why it is important to be selective with your kindness. It is not about being cold or distant. It is about recognizing who deserves your time and effort. There is a difference between being a kind person and being a person who allows others to take advantage of them. The more you allow people to misuse your kindness, the more they will believe they have the right to do so. People will only treat you the way you allow them to treat you. If you continue to show kindness to those who repeatedly hurt you, they will never change. They will continue their behavior because they know they can get away with it. Setting boundaries is one of the most important things you can do. Boundaries do not mean you are unkind. They mean you respect yourself enough to protect your energy. They mean you understand that kindness should never come at the cost of your own well-being. Saying no is not a sign of cruelty. Walking away from toxic people is not unkind. Choosing yourself is not selfish. These are necessary steps to ensure that your kindness is reserved for those who truly value and appreciate it. Many people fear that if they stop being kind to everyone, they will be seen as rude or heartless. But the truth is, people who genuinely care about you will respect your boundaries. They will understand that kindness is a privilege, not something to be taken for granted. The only people who will be upset when you start protecting your kindness are the ones who benefited from taking advantage of it. It is time to stop wasting kindness on those who do not deserve it. It is time to recognize that not everyone is entitled to your generosity. It is time to start valuing yourself enough to know when to walk away. True kindness is not about giving endlessly. It is about giving wisely. It is about ensuring that your kindness is directed toward people who uplift you, support you, and appreciate you. So, do not feel guilty for being selective with your kindness. Do not apologize for setting boundaries. Do not allow yourself to be drained by people who do not respect you. Your kindness is a gift, and gifts should only be given to those who understand and cherish their value. Saying no is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. Yet so many people struggle with it. The fear of disappointing others, the guilt of turning someone down, and the pressure to always be available can make it difficult to refuse requests. But the truth is, saying no is not cruel. It is not selfish. It is not unkind. It is necessary. It is a way to protect yourself, your time, and your energy from being drained by people who do not respect your boundaries. Too often, people confuse kindness with obligation. They believe that being a good person means saying yes to everything and everyone. They believe that in order to be liked, to be accepted, to be seen as generous and caring, They must always put others before themselves. But what happens when this mindset is taken too far? What happens when you give so much that you have nothing left for yourself? What happens when your kindness becomes a burden rather than a joy? The answer is simple: you become exhausted, you become resentful, you begin to feel like your life is no longer your own, that your time is controlled by everyone but you. And the worst part, the people who take the most from you are often the ones who give the least in return. They expect you to always be there, to always be available, to always accommodate their needs, but they rarely stop to ask what you need. They take your yes for granted, assuming that no matter how much they ask of you, you will never refuse. This is why learning to say no is so important. It is not about being rude or shutting people out. It is about recognizing your own worth and understanding that your time is valuable. It is about setting boundaries that protect your mental and emotional well-being. It is about refusing to let others dictate how you spend your life. There is nothing unkind about prioritizing yourself. There is nothing wrong with recognizing when enough is enough. Walking away from toxic people is another crucial lesson. Not everyone who comes into your life deserves to stay. Some people bring negativity, drama, and unnecessary stress. They drain your energy, take advantage of your kindness, and leave you feeling worse every time you interact with them. These people do not add value to your life, they only take from it. And yet, so many people hold on to these relationships out of fear. Fear of confrontation, fear of being alone, fear of change. But staying in a relationship, friendship, or situation that harms you is far worse than walking away. Holding on to people who constantly hurt you, disrespect you, or take advantage of you does not make you a good person. It makes you a person who does not value themselves enough to demand better. You deserve to be surrounded by people who uplift you, who respect you, who appreciate you. And if someone does not meet that standard, you have every right to remove them from your life. Choosing yourself is not selfish, it is one of the most important things you can do. For far too long, people have been made to feel guilty for prioritizing their own happiness. They have been told that putting themselves first is wrong, that they should always think of others before thinking of themselves. But what good is that if it leaves you feeling empty? What good is constantly giving if you never receive anything in return? The reality is, when you take care of yourself first, you are in a better position to help others. When you are happy, fulfilled, and emotionally strong, you can give your best to the people who truly matter. But when you are constantly drained, exhausted, and stretched thin, you have nothing left to offer. Choosing yourself is not about being selfish. It is about recognizing that you cannot pour from an empty cup. Life is too short to spend it pleasing people who do not appreciate you. It is too short to waste time on relationships that do not add value to your life. It is too short to give and give until there is nothing left for yourself. Learning to say no, walking away from toxic people, and choosing yourself are not acts of cruelty. They are acts of self-respect. They are ways to protect yourself from being taken advantage of. They are necessary steps toward living a life that is truly your own. So stop feeling guilty for setting boundaries. Stop apologizing for putting yourself first. Stop thinking that kindness means allowing yourself to be used. The people who truly care about you will respect your decisions, and those who do not were never meant to be in your life in the first place. Kindness is a beautiful thing, but not everyone deserves it. This is a difficult truth to accept because we are often told that kindness should be unconditional, that it should be given freely without expecting anything in return. However, reality paints a different picture. The world is full of people who do not value kindness, who see it not as something to be cherished, but as something to be exploited. These people take advantage of others, using their goodness as a weakness rather than a strength. It is important to recognize that not everyone is worthy of your kindness, and learning to distinguish between those who appreciate it and those who misuse it is crucial for your emotional and mental well-being. There are individuals who will take everything you offer without a second thought. They will drain your energy, take your time, and never once stop to think about what they are giving in return. They will expect you to always be there, to always be available, to always say yes to their requests, no matter how inconvenient or unfair they may be. And when the time comes for them to give back, to show even the smallest amount of appreciation or effort, they will disappear or make excuses. These people do not respect kindness because they have never had to earn it. It is easy to fall into the trap of thinking that if you continue to be kind, people will eventually change. That if you keep giving, they will recognize your value and start treating you better. But that is rarely the case. In reality, when you are kind to the wrong people, they do not suddenly become better. They do not wake up one day and realize they have been taking advantage of you. Instead, they become comfortable. They assume you will always be there, always ready to give, always willing to forgive. Your kindness does not change them, it enables them. This is why it is so important to be selective with your kindness. Not everyone deserves a second chance. Not everyone deserves your time. Not everyone deserves to be in your life. It is not cruel to recognize when someone is mistreating you. It is not unkind to set boundaries. In fact, it is necessary. You have to understand that your kindness is valuable, and anything valuable should not be given away freely to just anyone. It should be reserved for those who truly appreciate it, for those who give kindness in return, for those who see it as a blessing rather than an opportunity to take advantage. Some people mistake kindness for weakness. They assume that just because you are nice, you are also naive. That just because you are giving, you do not know when you are being used. They believe they can keep taking without consequences, that they can keep crossing lines without facing any pushback. But kindness should never mean allowing others to treat you poorly. It should never mean tolerating behavior that disrespects or diminishes you. Being kind does not mean being a doormat. Being kind does not mean accepting less than what you deserve. It is time to stop wasting kindness on those who will never appreciate it. It is time to stop excusing people who continue to take without giving. It is time to stop letting your good heart be a reason for others to manipulate and control you. There is nothing wrong with being kind, but there is something very wrong with being kind to the wrong people. The more you give to those who do not deserve it, the more you take away from those who do. Every ounce of energy you spend on someone who mistreats you is energy that could have been given to someone who truly values you. You are not obligated to be kind to everyone. You are not required to keep forgiving, to keep giving, to keep tolerating behavior that drains you. You have every right to choose who deserves your kindness and who does not. You have every right to walk away from those who refuse to treat you with the same respect you offer them. You have every right to protect yourself from people who only take advantage of your good nature. The world will always tell you to be kind. It will always tell you that kindness is the answer, that it makes the world a better place. And that is true, but only when it is given to the right people. Kindness is a gift, and like any gift, it should not be handed out carelessly. It should be given to those who appreciate it, to those who return it, to those who see it for the rare and valuable thing that it is. Not everyone deserves your kindness. Not everyone deserves your time. Not everyone deserves your energy. Give it to those who do.
Sure, here's an expanded version of the first keynote in a 700-word speech. We have been taught from a young age that kindness is a virtue, that being nice, polite, and generous is the right way to live, that we should always be the bigger person, turn the other cheek, and give people the benefit of the doubt. The world constantly tells us that kindness is the answer to everything, that it can fix relationships, mend broken hearts, and even change the world. And while kindness is indeed powerful, what no one tells us is that kindness, when given without wisdom, can be a burden rather than a blessing. Not everyone in this world deserves your kindness. That is a harsh truth, but one that needs to be understood. Being kind to the wrong people will not only drain you, but will also set a dangerous pattern where others start taking advantage of you, where your generosity is seen as weakness, where your good heart is turned into a tool for someone else's benefit. The truth is, people notice kindness, and while some will appreciate it, others will exploit it. They will take what they can from you without giving anything in return. They will smile at you, take your support, and then walk away the moment they no longer need you. Have you ever felt exhausted, emotionally drained, and unappreciated? Have you ever given and given until there was nothing left for yourself? If you have, then you know exactly what it feels like to be kind to the wrong people. It starts with small things, saying yes when you want to say no, helping someone who never helps you back, forgiving someone who keeps hurting you, making excuses for people who don't deserve them. Slowly, you find yourself stuck in a pattern of being overly available, overly accommodating, and overly generous with people who wouldn't do the same for you. This is where kindness becomes a trap. It makes you believe that you are doing the right thing, that by continuing to give, you are somehow making the world better. But in reality, you are only making life harder for yourself. The people who don't value you will not suddenly start valuing you just because you continue to be kind to them. If anything, they will continue to take advantage of you, pushing boundaries and expecting more because they know you won't stop them. They know you will always be there no matter how they treat you. What you need to understand is that your kindness should be a privilege, not a free pass for everyone. It should be given to those who respect and appreciate it, not to those who manipulate and use you. There is no honor in being a person who is constantly walked over, who is always bending over backward for others while receiving nothing in return. Your time, energy, and emotions are valuable and they should be protected. Saying no is not cruel. Walking away from toxic people is not unkind. Choosing yourself is not selfish. These are necessary actions if you want to live a life that is not controlled by the expectations and demands of others. There is a difference between being a kind person and being a person who lets others take advantage of them. Being kind does not mean you should accept disrespect. Being kind does not mean you should tolerate mistreatment. Being kind does not mean you should keep forgiving people who do not deserve it. You have to learn to set boundaries, to know when enough is enough, to recognize that kindness should never come at the cost of your own well-being. Being kind to the right people is beautiful. It builds strong relationships, fosters trust, and creates an environment of love and respect. But being kind to everyone, especially those who don't deserve it, will only leave you exhausted and broken. So it's time to stop believing that kindness means being available for everyone all the time. It's time to stop letting people use your good heart as a free pass for their bad behavior. It's time to stop feeling guilty for choosing yourself. The world needs more kind people, yes, but it also needs people who are wise about their kindness. Because at the end of the day, kindness is not about sacrificing yourself for others. It is about giving what you can to those who truly appreciate it while also taking care of yourself. Stop being kind to everyone. Be kind to the right ones.
Kindness is often praised as one of the greatest virtues a person can have. It is seen as a quality that makes the world a better place, a trait that strengthens relationships, and a force that brings people together. But what is rarely discussed is that kindness, when given without wisdom, can sometimes do more harm than good. There is a fine line between being kind and being taken for granted, between being generous and being exploited. And when people fail to recognize this difference, they often find themselves trapped in situations where their kindness is no longer a strength but a burden. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that everyone deserves their kindness. The truth is, not everyone does. Some people will take your kindness and use it to their advantage without giving anything in return. They will expect you to always be available, to always say yes, and to always put their needs before your own. And the moment you try to set boundaries, they will make you feel guilty for it. They will accuse you of being selfish, of changing, of not caring as much as you once did. But in reality, all you are doing is protecting yourself from being drained by people who do not appreciate you. It is important to understand that kindness should never come at the cost of your own well-being. There is nothing wrong with helping others, but there is something wrong with allowing others to take advantage of you. If you keep giving and giving without receiving anything in return, you will eventually reach a point where you have nothing left for yourself. You will feel exhausted, emotionally depleted, and unappreciated. And the worst part is, the very people who took so much from you will be the first to leave when you finally need them. This is why it is crucial to stop expecting everyone to value your kindness. Some people will never appreciate it, no matter how much you do for them. They will take it for granted, assuming that you will always be there to support them, to listen to them, to help them. They will see your kindness not as something special, but as something they are entitled to. And when someone feels entitled to your kindness, they will never truly appreciate it. This is why being selective with your kindness is so important. It is not about being rude or unkind to others. It is about recognizing who deserves your time and energy. It is about understanding that kindness should be a privilege, not a free pass for others to exploit you. If someone does not respect you, if they repeatedly take from you without giving anything back, if they make you feel unappreciated, then they do not deserve your kindness. And walking away from such people does not make you a bad person. It makes you someone who values themselves. Many people struggle with this concept because they have been conditioned to believe that kindness means always saying yes, always being available, always sacrificing for others. But true kindness is not about constantly giving until you have nothing left. It is about giving in a way that is healthy, balanced, and reciprocated. It is about ensuring that your kindness is not wasted on those who will never value it. Choosing to be kind to the right people is not selfish, it is smart. It allows you to invest your time and energy in relationships that are meaningful, in people who truly appreciate you, and in situations that bring you happiness rather than exhaustion. It ensures that your kindness remains a source of strength rather than weakness. So stop expecting everyone to value your kindness. Not everyone will, and that is okay. What matters is that you value it yourself. What matters is that you understand its worth and choose to share it with people who genuinely appreciate it. Kindness is a gift, and like any gift, it should be given wisely. It should not be handed out to those who only take without giving anything in return. It should not be wasted on people who do not respect you. It should be reserved for those who see it as the rare and beautiful quality that it is. At the end of the day, your kindness should not be a burden. It should not leave you feeling exhausted or unappreciated. It should uplift you, empower you, and bring you joy. And that can only happen when you stop expecting everyone to value it and start being more intentional about who receives it. Kindness is one of the most powerful qualities a person can possess, but it must be given wisely. Not everyone deserves it, and not everyone will value it. When kindness is offered without boundaries, it often leads to exhaustion, disappointment, and being taken for granted. The key is to recognize that kindness should be a privilege, not an expectation, and that it should be shared with those who truly appreciate and reciprocate it. Choosing where to direct your kindness is not selfish, it is necessary. It allows you to protect your energy, maintain your self-respect, and cultivate relationships that are based on mutual care and appreciation. The people who genuinely value your kindness will never take it for granted, and those who do not value it were never meant to have it in the first place. So stop feeling guilty for setting boundaries. Stop expecting everyone to recognize the worth of your generosity. Instead, cherish your kindness, protect it, and share it only with those who truly deserve it. Because when kindness is given to the right people, it remains a strength, not a weakness.